In this video, I'm showing you over 25 settings you need to change if you just got your hands on a brand new iPhone 15, 15 Pro, or any iPhone that's on the latest version of iOS 17. I'll be covering improvements in the security settings, privacy settings, battery life enhancements, app settings, and plenty of tips and tricks. Now, the first setting you need to change to increase overall battery life can be located in Mail. So in the settings section, which we'll be spending most of our time here, but if we go down and select the Mail section down here, tap on the Mail icon and tap on Accounts, and then Fetch New Data, and on the top portion right here where it says Push, go ahead and turn this off. By doing this will prevent your phone from constantly looking for new emails, saving a lot of battery life. But instead, you will be telling it when to do so. Because if we scroll down to the bottom of this page, this is where you go manually change it to hourly, every 15 minutes, and etc. By leaving it on manually, this will allow you to check the emails once you actually click on the app instead of the phone doing it all automatically. But personally, I recommend leaving it at 30 minutes because this is a good duration when the iPhone to check for important emails. But hourly is also a great middle ground. Now I want to go ahead and talk about brightness because this is one that I always get questioned a lot on iPhone video comic sections, because one of the most annoying things is the Apple auto brightness. Now this has been changed multiple times in the Apple settings every time we receive a new next generation version of iOS. So in iOS 17, this has been slightly tweaked. But if you go into the accessibility section and we go into display and text size, and then if we scroll down here to where we see auto brightness, this is where you could go ahead and turn it off. Now I typically like to have this turned off when I'm outdoor and filming. This way, if I'm in a bright environment, my screen just doesn't randomly just dim randomly while I was recording, making it difficult to record the subject. Now I would personally prefer leaving this on if I'm just daily using it, as this does preserve battery. But now knowing that this is where you go into to disable this, it's a good little powerful tool to enable or disable if you're doing outdoor photography. But another quicker method to do this instead of going into the settings is just verbally requesting Siri to turn off auto brightness, and it will do it. Now so far you've been getting good usage out of this video. Make sure to leave this video a like real quick to please the YouTube algorithm gods, and also turn that cool animation on. It only takes a few seconds and it really does help out the channel, so thank you so much. Now since we're still talking about the display, this part is just specific for the 14 Pros as well as the 15 Pros, as the settings revolving around the always on display. And here you have the 3 settings you could turn on or off. But one thing that does drain the most battery is the wallpaper option, which is why I prefer having this one turned off. Whenever it displays the animation, the whole screen is illuminating. Even while at 1 Hz per rate, this still draws a lot of battery. So just turn this off and you'll see a nice little boost right there. But everything else can be a beneficial tool to see your notifications whenever your phone is just on standby mode. And if you have an Apple Watch, if you walk away far enough, the screen will automatically turn off once your iPhone detects your Apple Watch is far away, preserving more battery. Of course, it also has internal sensors, so as soon as you put this in your pocket, the display will also turn off automatically. Now, one of the new features that's found on the 15 Pro as well as the 15 Pro Max is the new action button, which replaced the mute switch. And now whenever you have your device on silent, you'll see this bell icon on top right here. Well, most people don't like seeing this bell icon. So if you'd like to go ahead and turn this off, just go into the sound and haptics tab and just disable turn off in status bar. And now you'll see that it's gone. But you'll be able to always check the stats in the control center. Now since we're still on this page, and this also applies on all iPhones, if we scroll down, you have the option to tap on here where it says keyboard feedback, and you can choose between sound or haptic feedback. I personally prefer the haptic feedback because this will actually give you keyboard feedback as you're typing in on your keyboard, making sure you're hitting the correct keys. If you love mechanical keyboards or that feeling, this is a nice little way to somewhat simulate this. Now if you haven't yet done this, if you like to see the battery life percentage on your iPhone status bar, you need to go tap in the battery tab. And right above here, just enable battery percentage, and now you'll see it right here on the top right corner. But if we go down here where it says battery health, and then you go ahead and tap into charging optimization, there's 2 important settings to definitely adjust. Battery optimized charging will allow the phone to safely charge back to 80 or 100% without overheating the battery, making sure you receive the longest longevity on your iPhone without fear of having to swap the battery. I personally recommend leaving this on, especially if you plan on having your iPhone for longer than 2 years. But if you like your phone to quickly charge back to 80%, you could totally select it right here. It's keeping it at 80% limit. This way, this will also help increasing your battery overall longevity. But if your phone's battery is extremely hot, your phone will be prioritized to charge to 80 as quickly as possible. Or you could turn it off entirely and just allow your phone to fast charge regardless, even if the battery are extremely hot. So depending on the type of user you are, if you upgrade yearly, this may not be necessary. You can just leave this off, but will definitely hurt the resale value if you're selling it privately. I personally would recommend on optimized battery charging, but now you are informed what these other two can also do. Next is the new stolen device protection. If you go on Face ID and passcode, enter your passcode, and down here you'll see a brand new option called stolen device protection. Make sure to go ahead and turn this on, because by default it will be turned off, and this will allow would-be thieves who know your passcode from locking you out of your own device by removing your iCloud ID. Now, this was a thing that was covered on the news recently of last year. Apple heard this, and now they gave us this new tool that allows you to turn off, because now it requires another Apple device to authenticate and unlock your device to prevent anybody who knows your iPhone's passcode from locking you out of your own device. Because now the only way to bypass this is with Touch ID or Face ID. No number pads whatsoever. Because if we read the description, it says this adds another level of security when iPhone is away from a familiar location, such as home and work, and Face ID is required to access certain data, and a delay is prevented from quick changes to security settings. Next, let's take a look at Wi-Fi. In the Wi-Fi tab, scroll down where it says ask to join network. I would recommend leaving this off. I'm sure I'm not the only one who finds this annoying, because as I'm in public, like public stores, I don't want to see a pop-up interrupting whatever I was doing. I was perfectly fine on cellular, telling me that Wi-Fi is available for a public access, like in Target or something like that. That's annoying and that's unsafe, so I personally prefer just leaving this off. As I'm sure all of us, we know when Wi-Fi is available, and we will know when we want to connect to it. But we'll be perfectly fine and more secure just relying on our cellular network on a private network instead of a public network when we're just roaming. And turning this off will also allow your iPhone to save a little bit of battery life instead of constantly looking for a Wi-Fi network that's open. Now, on the subject of connectivity, let's go into mobile service. What I want to show you, if you scroll all the way down to the very bottom where it says iCloud Backup as well as iCloud Drive, I personally recommend leaving these off, because having these on will allow your iPhone to always back up photos or your phone backup using your cellular network, causing you to use up more data. So if you have a data limit, turn this off. If not, you can leave these on, but leaving these on will also allow your phone to drain battery much quicker as well. So just turn it off overall. So my recommendation, I would just suggest leaving this off entirely, and just do this when you're at home. Now, if you don't have 5G around your place, your iPhone does support 5G, but if you're mostly on 4G, go ahead and go into voice and data. Go ahead and select LTE, as this will allow the iPhone from, again, using data to look for a 5G network when 4G is all you really have. So by selecting LTE, this will allow the iPhone to stay fixed to this and will save you battery this way as well. Now, if you wish your iPhone to automatically update as well as update any security responses or security files, then go ahead and quickly go into General and go into Software and make sure iOS update is enabled, but make sure you also have security responses and system files enabled as well. This way, every night when you leave your phone to charge, as any small patch that's available, your iPhone will be always up to date. Now, one of the most awesome things about iMessage is the capability to send videos as well as photos instantly. But did you know there's a setting where you could enable to make sure that the video or photo you're sending is the same resolution as it was captured on your phone? Unfortunately, this is disabled by default, but if you'd like to go ahead and enable this, go ahead and scroll down to the message tab and scroll all the way down and make sure that the low quality image mode is turned off. This will use up more data, but again, if you're in Wi-Fi, you're good. Then if you have unlimited data, it doesn't really matter. So I personally prefer leaving this off. Now, if you're like me who takes a lot of notes and sometimes includes some sensitive information like document paper numbers and such, then you need to know about this locking capability. So if we launch the Note app, so whatever you typed in, just long press on this little stack section and just tap on lock note. And here you have two options. One, you could select so it could be unlocked with your iPhone's passcode, or you could create a separate password separately from your iPhone, which will mean only you will have access to. And by simply doing that, now when you want to have access to this note, you'll have either a Face ID, access, or a passcode. Just enter that and you'll have access to your notes right here. Now, if you ever find an app that you downloaded missing on your homepage, it could be located in your app library. If you like it to no longer do that, to actually be installed on your homepage instead, you need to go into your iPhone settings, and then you go ahead and tap on home screen and app library. And on top here, you can select home screen. But if you like to only have newly installed apps on your app library, then select app library. Now, if you and your spouse both share an iPhone, or share each other's phone, I should say, you can actually add a Face ID alternative if you want to give them access to your phone as well. This just go into your Face ID and passcode, enter your password credential, then down here, tap on set up alternative appearance. Now, this is also a good method to set up if you wear different hats, facial glasses, or something like that along that nature, bandana even, where you can also scan your face while you're wearing your daily outfits. So if whatever some reason your Face ID isn't working while you're wearing like a scarf or something, just set the alternative right here and now it should work. But if you're wearing like a face mask, you can always just enable Face ID with mask. An important setting to keep in mind and keep an eye out is this one where it says require attention for Face ID. This makes sure that you're making contact to your Face ID hardware so your iPhone can actually unlock. So if you're asleep, passed out, not making contact, and someone just holding your phone as hostage, just don't make eye contact and your phone will not unlock by having this turned on. Now, continuing on, if we scroll down where it says allowed access when locked, these little knobs definitely do take the time to peruse this section, because some things to keep in mind: if you enable a control center and someone would steal your phone, they could quickly disable your cellular reception, Bluetooth, as well as Wi-Fi, making it challenging for you to get a hold of your phone. So I personally prefer leaving this off. Another thing is Siri control. I personally prefer leaving Siri off. The strangers don't have access to my Siri. But other things that really doesn't really matter if somebody sees it or has access to my phone while it's locked, like widgets, live activities for your workouts, as well as home control. But one important one that's overlooked is the accessory one. Leave this turned off, because if you turn this on and your phone is locked, if somebody plugs in an external hard drive or a flash drive or something like that, they'll be able to transfer files or grab personal data, if they know what they're doing, from your iPhone to their thumb drive. So turn this one off as well. Now, while we're still on this tab, in the very bottom where it says erase data after 10 failed attempts, basically if someone steals your phone and they enter your password 10 times, your phone will wipe your personal data so nobody has access to it. Now, I personally prefer leaving this off because I never once have really lost my phone, nor has it ever gone to the wrong hands. And personally, my biggest fear is somebody's just gonna grab my phone that I personally know, and like a toddler or something, and will erase my phone. So unless you back up your phone daily, I don't really recommend leaving this on. But if you live in a sketchy environment or you have a habit of losing your phone, then maybe you want to consider leaving this on. Next, let's talk about the reality where it comes to third-party apps. There's a lot of apps that just always request to know about your location, which is why it's important to overview this section of your phone. Located in the location and services, right here, just look at these apps and see which one you want to approve or deny. Because personally, none of these apps need to have it on always. So I personally prefer leaving them to while using the app, your demand for it to begin tracking, as this is another clever way to save a little bit more battery life. Now, Photos is somewhat of a similar story, where some of these apps will actually have full access of your photo library, so I recommend perusing here and giving access to those apps that really should have it and the ones that really shouldn't. And if we tap on one of these, the beauty about limit access is the photos that you have selected is the photos that it has access to. When you do full library, it will tell you the number exactly right here on how many photos it will have access to. So I personally prefer limit access because I'm directly controlling that. And if we go back, you could do a similar thing with microphone and cameras, but the location as well as photos are one of the big security ones in my opinion. Next is notifications. In the notification tabs, you have freedom to adjust basically everything, but one of my most important ones is the lock one. You can find this in the show previews, and I have mine selected when unlocked, so whenever I receive a notification and my phone is locked, it's just going to show me the app and that's it. But if I hit always, it's going to show the body context to that app. Now, if we go back and look at the screen sharing notification section, I personally prefer leaving this off. This way, whenever you mirror your device, either SharePlay or using like a Zoom app or FaceTime calling, this way your notifications don't get shown during that presentation and will save yourself from some embarrassment or some privacy notifications that others should not see. Next is scroll down to this massive library of apps that you have installed. If you have a lot of apps on these things, and sometimes some of these apps just do nothing but show promotions or something like that, go ahead and turn these notifications off because they're unnecessary. They will also use up data as well as battery resources. So turn off the ones that you really don't care about and keep on the ones that are important to you. Now, since we keep going back to battery life saving in terms of resources, is disable background apps. Unless you're constantly using GPS, there's no need to have this on, as it will allow many of these background apps that you have continue to run and use battery resources. So if you like to turn this off, go into general and then go into background apps. Here you can manually turn off the ones you really don't want to run in the background. Again, I personally prefer leaving GPS based apps running if I'm using it for directions, or you can turn it off all entirely. This way, whenever you exit out of an app and you forget to force close, that app is just turned off and paused until you go back to it. Now, when it comes to downloading apps, there's a couple of essential settings you should probably disable or turn on. You can locate it in the App Store section right here, and the first one I recommend turning off is automatic app download. If you have another iPhone or iPads and you install an app on that device, by keeping this on, it will also install that app on your iPhone if it's available as well. If you don't like it doing that, turn this off, so it'll also save you some iPhone storage as well. But what I do recommend is turning on app updates, so whenever there's an app update available on the App Store, it will automatically be installed on your iPhone. And if we scroll down, there's also a mobile data section right here. If you have unlimited data, leave this on. If not, turn this off. Now, if you're ever annoyed whenever you use a new third-party app and a pop-up comes up asking you to review them, you could disable this. You could locate it in the App Store section again one more time and just scroll down to in-app rating reviews and you can turn it off. Apple does give us the freedom to turn this off. Now, I'm not against reviewing apps. Some apps I do personally review if they really do deserve it. But sometimes when I'm just trying out the app for like the first few minutes and this pops up, that's annoying. So this is why I recommend disabling this. I'll review it when I feel like it's ready. Next, I want to talk about offload unused apps. If you have a lot of apps on your iPhone that you don't use, you may want to consider turning this off because this will uninstall that app automatically, freeing you space. But I found out it's best just having this off because there's times when I do actually randomly go back and using that app. A fine example would be like the Starbucks app. I went 1 month without using that app. It was uninstalled and I had to re-download it. Next, I want to cover AirDrop. So in general, and click on AirDrop. Here you'll find a new setting right here where it says bringing device together. It's that new tap feature. Now this can be annoying at times, especially if you're just holding you and your friend's phone together and it will actually randomly connect. If you don't like this, just go ahead and turn this off. But if you wish to turn this on but keep it more in control with your contacts, the people that you want to be able to be approved to be able to quickly connect to your AirDrop this way, on the top here you could disable receive off entirely, contacts only, or everyone for only 10 minutes. I personally like leaving it a contacts only. And then if I ever have to interact with a stranger, I will just go back here and just turn it on, select everyone for 10 minutes. Now it's late night and you're watching TikTok videos or Instagram Reels and a message pops up on your iPhone telling you you're watching the screen too close to you. If you find this annoying, you will be able to find this setting in screen time and scroll down where it says screen distance and turn it off here entirely. Now, a setting that I always turn off right away once I get a new iPhone is the capability to end the call by tapping on the power button on the side. I would falsely activate this while on the call, so I have to call back the caller most of the time. So to turn this off, you'll find this in the accessibility tab, and then you're going to tap on touch and then scroll down where it says prevent lock to end calls. Go ahead and turn this off. By turning this off, this will allow you to actually turn your screen black while on a call to also prevent yourself from accidentally tapping the end call button on the bottom of your iPhone. Now, the beauty about the iPhone 14 as well as the iPhone 15 is the new crash detection. If you want to make sure you have the crash detection enabled, you need to go into your iPhone settings one more time. Go down to emergency SOS and scroll down and make sure you see call after serious crash enabled. Basically, this is very similar to like OnStar. As soon as it detects a hard impact crash, it will get a hold of emergency dispatchers, in case you're unconscious. But the beauty with this is it works on all cars, not just GM vehicles. But now if you want an on-demand SOS, make sure you enable Call with 5 press. Basically, when you tap the power button 5 times, this will get a hold of emergency dispatchers this way as well, silently in case you're being stalked behind you. Then on the very bottom, you can edit your emergency contact information as well. People you want your iPhone to also get a hold of in case of an emergency. Now, the beauty about Siri on iOS 17 is that it's extremely advanced because one of the new features is the capability to actually activate Siri by just talking to it like a human being instead of saying the hey phrase. And nowadays, if you like to enable this, go into the Siri and search section and just go ahead and enable the ones you want. Or you can have it turned off entirely so you have control when you want to launch Siri manually by pressing and holding the side button. And there you go. Those are the best settings to definitely turn on, especially if you just got your brand new iPhone, so you can get the most out of your device. If you learned something new, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tech videos just like this. If you'd like to watch more, check out this video over here where I go through my favorite settings to adjust on the latest firmware update for the AirPods Pro. There's a lot of new settings that got added, so definitely go ahead and check out that video to enable the best ones for you. Thank you so much for watching.